Without productivity, my life doesn't exist because everything I've created was made from scratch. No fancy team to just hand the work off to. So the hundreds of YouTube videos, newsletters, script writing, thumbnails, editing, product releases, it was all up to me, which is why without productivity, my life doesn't move forward. So when I tell you that I have 5 items I rely on for that productivity, I mean it. I didn't just grab these from a productivity book or Google. For me, productivity means accomplishing what I intend to do. Based on that definition, which one of these do you think is most important? A, B, or C? Write which one of these you think is correct in the comments. The other two do not benefit my productivity. The correct answer is A, the planner, because if productivity is accomplishing what we intend to do, then the first step has to be laying out our intention. That's how I start my day, laying out my intentions and clarifying what matters most. So I kind of had to repurpose a planner and use it for what I call the duration framework, which is a productivity task framework that I invented last year. I made several videos about that, so I won't repeat myself. Links up here or in the description if you're curious. As for the planner I use, I'm going on about 2 years now with this one called the Finisher's Journal, which has worked decently well. I've worked with them in the past. They're great people. In fact, if you want to get one of these for 15% off, there's a link in the description that they kindly have offered, which makes me kind of sad because I'm not gonna be using their planner anymore. The reason for that is I decided to make my own because I couldn't find any planner that used the duration framework, obviously, because I kind of invented it. So I just made my own. It's not quite finished, so unfortunately, I can't really show it to you yet, but when it's ready, I'll be sure to let you know. Whew, sales pitch. If you know anything about the duration framework, you already know what the second item is I'm going to mention, and that is a timer. Seriously, this thing costed me $14 on Amazon and probably saves me 1 to 2 hours a week, comfortably. And the reason why it works so well is human beings have this incredible ability to do unpleasant things if we know how long we need to do them. When a task or something becomes unbearable is when we don't know how long the time commitment is. Look at almost any place in which you trade your time for money. There's almost always a clear start and stop in that process, so you know exactly what you're signing up for. So for ourselves, we can't just demand high intensity work for endless amounts of time. Even if we kind of know that we're gonna work until we get it finished, or we're gonna work until 3 p.m. The duration framework breaks whatever the thing is that you need to do into focus sessions. So by setting the timer for each focus session, it helps keep you on track as far as what needs to be accomplished inside of that focus session. For example, I have 38 minutes left in my focus session, and just having this in the background keeps me moving because this is all the time I have to complete the things that I said I would complete. The next item I use that allows me to be productive has gotten this channel over 4 million views. Whoa, it must be some like super cool technology. Nope, it's a pocket notebook. Huh? This costed me 33 cents and you'd be amazed at how useful it is. Do tell. Attention is incredibly fragile. So when I'm creating ideas, it's really important for me that nothing else even has the potential to derail that process. I don't want any interference of any kind or even the potential of that. So this is what I use to do a little bit of a practice run with the idea and see if it's worth the time investment. In fact, that's where this video came from. It amazes me how creative you can be when there's not even the potential for distraction. Like when I'm using this, my phone is not within sight or any form of technology, usually. The other thing I just started using this for is what I call a distraction list. So the way it works is whenever you're focusing on something, maybe it could be reading or working, whatever, you just have this open beside you, and anytime a thought or something pops into your head that has the potential to distract you, you simply pause what you're doing and write down whatever that thing is, and then return back to work. So when you do this, there's a couple things that happen. The first thing that happens is it increases your ability to focus, because a huge piece of focus is catching your mind when it wanders. The second thing it does is it gets those distractions out of your head. So they're on paper, and you can go straight back to working or focusing or reading or whatever you were doing because you know that that thought is held somewhere else. And then within that, there's another layer yet that it does, because oftentimes those ideas are good ideas and you actually need to remember them. But if you don't write them down and get them out of your head in an hour, you're gonna remember maybe like 1 or 2 of the 10 ideas that you had. So then it's like a lose-lose situation, because you were distracted while working because you kept thinking about these other ideas, and you didn't even get to save them so that you can come back and review them later. As you can see, it's more about what it doesn't do. It doesn't distract me in any way while I'm brainstorming or capturing ideas. And it's cheap and ugly, so I can scribble in it, tear pages out, or do whatever and not feel bad about it. For the last 2 items, we're going to take a bit of a turn because these aren't physical. These are software. The brain is for having ideas, not holding them. And Notion is where I hold all of the ones that make it through the firewall of my notebook or wherever else my ideas may come from. I don't know how to begin to explain my Notion setup to you because it's essentially my second brain. Every thought, idea, quote, video script, book notes, podcast, you name it, that I want to remember is in there. Everything is cataloged, organized, and totally searchable. It's my own personal library, as it were. So needless to say, explaining that and showing you that is complicated. But here's why I love it. It's free, so we're off to a great start. And also, you can build systems into it so that it does the work for you. For example, when I'm ready to make a new video, I click a button and it makes the outline I created for my videos. Then I just fill it with content. It's highly customizable, and probably most importantly, it's scalable. I know that it'll hold everything I could ever need with no problems. It's also online, so I can access it from anywhere and any computer. I'll stop there. I could keep going and talk about web clipping and embedding videos and systems and all that stuff, but you probably don't want to hear about that. If you're curious about how my second brain looks, like the structure of it, I'll leave a link up here and put a link down in the description as well. Last and probably least, I use an app called Sorted for all my calendar, reminder, and to-do list needs. I use it because I prefer the calendar layout as opposed to others, but that's not what makes me more productive. Sorted for me is all about the speed I'm able to capture a thought or a reminder that I need to set for myself. It's very much an in-between place. Nothing actually stays there. So for example, it's very common for me to be working on a project or a video or washing the dishes or anything, and a thought will just pop into my head that I forgot to send my planner to my sister to be reviewed. And I know that if I don't grab that thought and capture it, somehow I will forget it again. And I also don't have time in the moment to do that thing. So I need something to capture that thought in the shortest amount of time possible so that I can get back to whatever I'm doing. And then what I do is I come back later on throughout the day whenever I actually have time, and I will go through my quick capture or whatever you want to call it and look at what all needs to be done and make plans for them, eliminate the things that are irrelevant, or make notes or set reminders or schedules, whatever the case may be. This alone has improved my productivity so much just by way of preventing things from slipping through the cracks. There are a lot of really good ideas or things you need to remember, but they have a lifespan of like 4 seconds because you're in the middle of working on something else. So again, the really good thing about Sorted is you can capture these ideas really, really quickly without derailing what you're currently focusing on, because attention is really fragile. These are the 5 things that make my productivity possible. I would love to hear if you think that there's anything I need to add. Also, all my video references are down in the description, starting with this one in the middle of the screen.